We ask questions about the sunrise process, which is basically the alter ego of the sunset review process. Now, in California, as in a number of other states, there's a so-called sunrise process. Again, it's the opposite of a sunset or repeal process in the law. First question, when is the sunrise process used? Generally, when establishing a new regulatory scheme for an occupation or profession, the legislature will proceed with the sunrise process, which is when they assess a request for a new or enhanced occupational regulation. Where in the law is the sunrise process found? It's in California's Government Code, naturally, Title II, Division 2, Part 1, Chapter 1.5, Article 8. And Article 8 is titled Legislative Oversight of State Board Formation and Licensed Professional Practice. In sections 9148 to 9148.8, there's a process for reviewing a new licensing board and licensed professions here in the state of California. Which state entities are subject to the sunrise process? Government Code Section 9148.2 defines the term state board to mean any administrative or regulatory board, commission, committee, council, association, or authority consisting of more than one person, whose members are appointed by the governor, the legislature, or both. However, note that the term does not include any commission created by the legislature under the Food and Agricultural Code. What must a proposed new entity do? Section 9148.4 requires a plan to be developed, and that plan has to be done before consideration by the legislature, and it concerns prospective legislation creating a new state board or legislation creating a new category of a licensed professional. What's the purpose of this plan? The plan is for the establishment and operation of the proposed new state board or new category of licensed professional, and the plan is required to be developed by the author or sponsor of the proposed legislation. What must be included in this plan? In Government Code Section 9148.4, it requires the plan to include, among other things, A, a description of the problem that the creation of the specific state board or new category of licensed professional would address. B, the reasons why this proposed state board or new category of licensed professional was selected to address this problem. C, the specific public benefit or harm that would result from the establishment of the proposed state board or new category of licensed professional. D, the specific sources of revenue and funding to be utilized. And E, the necessary data and information required to be provided to the legislature. Do alternatives need to be considered? Yes. The plan must include the full range of alternatives considered and the reason why each of those alternatives was not selected. What is the role of legislative committees in this process? Section 9148.8 allows the appropriate policy committee of the legislature to evaluate the plan that's prepared pursuant to this law. What's the role of the Joint Sunset Review Committee? It is required to provide to the respective policy and fiscal committees of the legislature any evaluation and recommendation that they've prepared pursuant to this area of law. What are the criteria used to determine whether a profession or occupation needs to be regulated? Well, there are 9 specified criteria that are provided for in these relevant sections of the California Government Code. There's also a questionnaire required. So what's the purpose of the questionnaire? It's used as an aid to legislative and administrative officials. The questionnaire is described as an objective tool for collecting and analyzing information that's needed to arrive at accurate, informed, and publicly supported decisions regarding the merits of regulatory proposals. And finally, what must be included in this questionnaire? Well, Section A of the questionnaire helps identify the group seeking regulation and helps to determine whether the applicant group adequately represents the occupation. Section B then identifies 1, consumers who typically seek practitioner services, and 2 non-applicant groups with an interest in the proposed regulation. And then section C also has 2 parts. Part 1 allows presentation of data that supports the application for regulation. And then part 2 of section C of the questionnaire requires the applicant group to complete a self-rating on each of the specified sunrise criteria. So that's basically the sunrise process as outlined in the California Government Code.